Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Setback Leadership Breaking Glass Ceilings podcast. In this episode, I talk to Miss Parul. She happens to be the director of sales in a reputed hotel chain in Hyderabad. She has had about 14 plus years of experience in the hospitality and tourism industry. She's broken many glass ceilings and represented the organization in many international forums as well as in trade shows. In today's episode, when we were talking, Parul shared a couple of very intimate incidents of her life where she learned how to break glass ceilings not once but many a times. And what helped her is finding a mentor and reading and traveling. Why did she say so? Why did she talk about reading and traveling and finding a mentor? Want to find out? Let's get to the discussion and we will see. Hi Parul, how are you doing? And thank you for joining the Setback Leadership podcast, the video and audio podcast around breaking the glass ceilings. How are you doing, Parul?
Hey Srijata, I am good and it's really nice to see you across the screen in these times and things are all rocking as usual and it's all great.
Lovely, lovely. So let us get straight into the topic before, instead of making our audiences wait. So here is a question around the topic. As you know, the topic for this podcast this season is breaking glass ceilings. So I'm going to ask you this question. I know a lot of people have a lot of myth about what is glass ceiling and, what it means to be hit by glass ceilings, etc. I would like to ask your version. What do you think is a glass ceiling is all about?
So if you look at the dictionary meaning of the glass ceiling, it says that these are blocks which are hampering your success and usually in case of women and minorities, right? But I go with the meaning of what the dictionary states. But what I really feel, especially for women, we have preconceived barriers in our mind, which we are sometimes not willing to break. And that's the glass ceiling for me. So the glass ceiling is definitely there, but it's just that we as women need to realize it and work towards it.
I totally agree with you on that. It has to be self-realization before you go out there in the world and say, no, the world is not giving me opportunity. Are you seeking that opportunity is also very, very important, right? So I want to ask you, because you come from a hospitality industry and you're a sales director there, right? I mean, in the profit center, generally we have not seen many women in hospitality industry holding a position in the profit center. We do see them in service, we do see them in, customer care and things like that, but not really in profit centers where we are talking about moolah, the money. So what has been your experience, in your journey?
Okay. So, as you said, that there are not too many women in the profit center, and I don't know if I should be happy about it, but I am the only woman, even in our leadership team at the hotel, right? So, there is an ExCom committee, and it comprises of 14 people, out of which I am the only woman who's part of the committee. And breaking of the glass ceiling, I think, as you said, it's totally you coming out of the comfort zone and raising your hand and saying that you want to do it. Now, I remember of an instance, this was way back in my career though, where I was in a position of maybe an associate director of sales. And one of the industry stalwarts who had met me in one of the trade shows in Frankfurt, after coming back to India, he invited me for a chat. And we had a very casual, long couple of hours. We chatted about it. And then he said that, why don't you join us in a position of director of sales? And this was way back, I think 5-6 years back in my career. And though the committee there, including the GM and the head of sales and marketing, was convinced with me, I myself was not convinced. And I declined that role. And I declined that role, you know. Later, I realized that I may be living in a cocoon and it's time to really break that cocoon now. So I immediately went back to where I was working in that particular organization and told them that what I'm doing is not enough and I really need exposure and I really need more responsibilities on my shoulder for me to groom myself. And that day, when I decided that, you know, this is it, it completely changed my overview, my horizon, and how I started looking at things. So that was like a big glass ceiling that I shattered after declining the role and thinking maybe I shouldn't have declined that role.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of leaders, especially women out there, that they hesitate to take that leap of faith, right? And I think that's a lesson out there for a lot of women leaders out there, that grab that opportunity that's coming your way. Why are you questioning your own capabilities where somebody else is giving you that opportunity? Like, that's the worst thing that you can do to your own growth and success, right? So go ahead, girls. It is time for you to grab it, ask for it, and claim your spot. That is the most important, I would say, right? Now, Parul, you have been there in the industry for 14 plus years now, and you have seen many ups and downs in your career as well. Have you ever come across any glass ceiling other than your own limiting beliefs? Is there anything that you faced where you felt, no, I shouldn't be going through this, or I didn't have to go through this, or something like that?
Yes, there is an instance that I would want to, highlight. In the year 2017, my husband got transferred to Philippines because they had a site to launch there. And I decided to really leave my 12 years of career and go along with him to Philippines without knowing what I'm going to do there. Because I was confident in my mind that it's fine, I'm going to get a job there. But once we reached there, we realized that the local community is not really open to employing expats, right? Especially in the hospitality industry. And I kept on giving interviews and I kept on meeting people. The discussions were healthy, but the owners wouldn't give a go ahead. And 9 months passed like that, right? Me trying and not really getting any opportunity there. And then one fine day, I started thinking, what am I really doing? Leaving 12 years of my career and sitting here because my husband is posted here. Yes, it's important to stay together and stay kicking, but not at the expense of your own well-being, right? And at that very moment, I started connecting with all my colleagues back in India. And it was a matter of 4 days that I got a role in India, right? And I decided to basically leave my husband behind in Philippines and come knocking towards my career and take up that role in India. That was a big decision for me because we had never stayed apart. We had never stayed in different countries, forget about cities in the country, but different countries. But I took that leap and I went ahead and took that role, and I'm happy that I did that. Otherwise I wouldn't have been sitting here with you.
Yeah, amazing. This reminded me of another incident in my life as well. So, my husband and I were married for just about 5, 6 months. So, newly wedded couple, as they would say. And he got a transfer from Chennai to Bangalore. He got a really good opportunity in Bangalore, and he moved. And because he moved, the usual assumption in the family and everywhere else was that I would move along with him too. But I chose to stay back in my organization till I found a replacement to go and join him in Bangalore. And it took us about 6 months to find that right opportunity. Till then, we managed that long distance relationship, and We didn't fall apart, by the way. So, and I can see neither have you fallen apart, isn't it? So, I mean, I think there is a lesson out there for women who think that just to keep a family running or just to keep a life of a relationship running, they have to let go of their career. It's not required, it's absolutely not required. Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, we say, don't leave before you leave. We have seen this general notion that women, when they decide to get married, they start thinking, now maybe I should take a break for 6 months, get settled, and then maybe think about it. It's a preconceived notion in our heads. I mean, things can happen simultaneously, and you don't really need to take that break.
Yeah. So we have been taught as women since childhood to make a choice, right? And I feel it is important to realize that we have the right to choose it all. We don't have to choose between family and growth in the career, or take our professional life and personal life, choose between them. We can choose this and that. We don't have to choose this or that. So that's something, that's again another lesson. Thank you, Parul, for bringing that out. I want to delve a little bit deeper into your head about this particular setback that you're talking about, right? This challenge that you're facing, that in Philippines nobody was giving you the job. What was running in your mind? What was the thought process? What was the feelings? And how did you actually break out of this glass ceiling?
So, as I said, when I reached that country, which was completely alien to me, I was very, very positive in my head because I had substantial amount of experience with me, and I was confident that I'm going to get a job. But after, I wouldn't say a couple of tries, but after rejections of maybe 7 to 9 rejections, I was clear in my head that I'm not going to just sit at home and do nothing, right? And the thought that was going in my mind was, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be sitting on a chair and pursuing my career with a strong head. And I have invested all my life working and reaching where I am, and I definitely cannot leave all that behind. So that was a thought that really drove me to pick up that call, go on LinkedIn, connect with people. And as I said, it was just a matter of 4 days to get a role in India. So it's just that barrier in your head where you feel, oh, I am Philippines. How am I even going to go back? It's a break of 9 months. Will I get a job? What will people think? You just have to park all of that, at the back of your head and just do what you really want to do. And that's what I did.
Absolutely. I think that's very, very important point, right? To have that clarity in your mind as a leader, that what is that is most important to you. What are the things that you prioritize versus, what are the things that you put into the second position or so on, right? I mean, if your career is your first position, first priority, then you have to look at ways to break those molds or break those expectations of the society, or anyway break those glass ceilings and get out there, and you will find a way like you did. And these, I mean, this is something, is it a myth that once you have a career break you will not get a job back, or do you think there is a reality in it?
I'll be very candid about it. Maybe to an extent it's true in our country, but it's not true in countries, in European countries or in US, because I have seen my friends who work for 6 months and take a break for 6 months. And I've developed these friends while we travel, like we'd really love to travel. So once a year, we explore a new destination, meet new people, get to know the local culture. And people whom I have met while traveling, that's what they do. They do backpacking. They work for 6 months. They earn enough money. They blow that money for next 6 months, and then they get a job and nobody really questions them. What were you doing for 6 months? But maybe in our country, that scenario is still not there. People want to see continuity on your resumes, and if there is a gap, your eyebrows will raise.
What could be the reason for it? I have faced the same situation as well. I had taken a 6 months break in between due to pregnancy and post pregnancy complications. And I've had that situation in my career, and it was difficult for me to go back to the formal corporate job. I started back working in startups after that, and I did really, really well. That's another story for another day. But the point is that I'm trying to make that what is the reason that these corporates believe that there has to be a continuity? Is continuity more important than talent or capability?
I think it's more to do with our culture, Shrijata. I feel in India, we've been right from our childhood days, even in our schools, we are taught that you're supposed to complete your education, you're supposed to get your degree, and you're supposed to get a job, right? Nobody tells you that you are supposed to manage your pocket money, manage the finances, see what is the practicality of it, and open your business. Nobody says that, right? So I think it's more to do with our upbringing, our culture, and what's gone in our head, that we perceive that if there is a break in the resume, probably there was something wrong. And I think it's the time now to really come out of that perception, because the next generation is not going to see things in the same light as we do, and it's change is the only constant thing in life. So I think, it's time for things to change.
I have to agree to you on that. The next generation is definitely not going to be following these typical rules. First, finish your, finish your education, do your masters, do your this PhD or whatever you do, and then get into a job, and then you get married, and then you get settled. I think the word settlement has to go out of dictionary, from a life and career point of view, right? I mean, you can keep exploring. I like look at I have a 12-year-old daughter, and whenever we discuss, so she always asks me, Mama, I want to become this, and I want to become that, and I want to become that, right? Can I become all of it together? And I never tell her, no, you cannot. You can become everything together. You don't have to be choosing between this or that. So I think that's very, very important, that job is not the only way to earn money. Why are you doing job? To earn a living. You can earn a living in any way, being a leader in any industry, in any field. So I think that's a brilliant point you brought out, Parul. Thank you so much for that. I have one more question here pertaining to, again, breaking glass ceilings. And I see a lot of leaders just get bogged down by the situations they are in, bogged down by the glass ceilings that they are unable to break, etc. And it becomes very difficult for them to come out of that rut, let's call it that, right? And how do you think such leaders can actually make those actions, or take those actions that help them really shatter those glass ceilings easily without much effort? What do you think should be the 2-3 things that they should do, or they should think about, or they should change about themselves that can take them beyond the glass ceilings?
What I feel and what has helped me is primarily two things. One is to identify a mentor in the industry, because if you as a woman has certain amount of obstacles or hurdles which are in your head, the mentor, having a chat with the mentor, really helps you segment that, and to in some cases maybe not immediately break, but it's a process that you have to follow, having conversations with your mentor and try and break that ceiling. Because when you are going on a journey completely alone, it's really difficult. But when there is a person right next to you, whom you know that this person is there if I have to fall back, then things become really easy. So I think one is to identify a mentor in the industry who will really help you and nurse you to break that ceiling. Two is to read and travel, is what I feel. Because when you read books, and though I'm not really a voracious reader, but I read when I get time, but I've seen my husband read n number of books in a month. I mean, he would wind up 6 books in a month or 4 books in a month. And I have seen him evolve. And your perception changes, your horizon changes, how you think, how you relate to things is completely different when you gain that exposure of reading and understanding what people in their lives have done and take their essence into yours and then try and marry it. So I think two things is mentorship, reading, and traveling.
Agreed, completely agreed. I mean, I have had many mentors in my life who have, who have made my journey really easy. And it's because of those mentors that I have met along the way in the journey that I have such an exciting career, with starting from a corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, then becoming an author, then becoming a speaker, and so on and so forth, right? So there has been a lot of exciting stuffs happening, and it's only because of the mentors. So I couldn't agree more with you on that. And secondly, yes, I love traveling. I think I learn most of my learnings due to traveling and reading. I do read a lot of books, Parul, and just to let you know, we have a bookies club. We call it Bookies Club, where we meet every Friday and discuss books. So you can imagine, everyone talks about books. In a week, you not only read your one book, but you also read another 5 6 books what others have read and reviewed. So you can imagine how it multiplies the again, it's a tip for the listeners here. Why don't you start a club of your own with similar interests that may be able to take you to a different zone and expand your horizons, expand your thinking, expand your beliefs and values and all of those things. Parul, at this point, I want to ask you another question. There are two sides of the coin, right? One side, there are leaders who are facing the challenges of the glass ceiling and trying to break it. And another side, there is these organizations or the companies that are, that are making it possible for this to happen. There are change happening all across the board, all across the organization, especially in the last 1.5 years. Thanks to the pandemic, it has really made it really opened eyes for the management of different organizations. So in that sense, in that light, I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think the companies or the organizations should do to help leaders break these glass ceilings?
So I know the current organization that I'm working with. There are basically different committees and programs that are made and formulated only to really nurture women leaders or the emerging leaders. And I think that's the way moving forward, because it's true that in times as such, even today, we need a little push, you know. And if we get that push, we have the path to really walk and climb and reach maybe to the top, not immediately, but it's a journey, it's a process. So I think a lot of corporates are formulating these programs, and I think that's the right way of doing it, you know, where you are getting the women, the potential women, pool of potential women all together and telling them as to how is your journey going to be and how we are going to help you really give you that push is the right thing to do. And I see a lot of corporates are already doing it. I mean, they have targets where they say that 20% or 30%, you know, it's called diversity, has to be there. 20%, 30% women have to be around in your team. And that's one of the KPIs that are being defined these days. So I think we are heading in the right direction, but it's just that we as women need to have self-belief in us to take up those roles, to get into those trainings, enroll ourselves proactively and follow that. Because if we don't do that, then nobody can help us.
So true, so true. Any particular program or any particular, specific thing that caught your attention or made you feel interesting? This is something that I would want for my women leaders or for my emerging women leaders in the organization.
Yeah, so currently in our organization, there is a committee of women. It is a program which is called RISE. Okay, it's basically RISE. And that's headed by the women committee. there are different pillars of philanthropy, of managing activities, of managing different training programs, and all that is headed by women, and women not only in India but globally. So I think that's a great forum where we as women get together and figure out as to what our women team members or emerging leaders are looking for, and really plan activities and programs around that. So I think a committee of such sorts where women are really managing it, taking the lead and getting other women on board to really attend those meetings is something that I think all organizations should head for.
Lovely. I think organizations who are listening to the podcast would take some notes and start acting if they're yet to act upon it. Now we are almost at the fag end of this beautiful podcast, an amazing discussion. I don't want to let you go, but we do have to close. So a last question to you, Parul. What are your final 3 tips for leaders who are going through a setback or some kind of a challenge in their life to break a glass ceiling? What would you give 3 tips to them to do so that they're able to come out of this challenge quickly?
Very simple. 1, believe in yourself. 2, when you've achieved something, give a pat on your back and really acknowledge that you've achieved something. And 3, take that leap of faith.
Superb, superb. We did take a leap of faith and started this podcast, for all of you. And I hope you all enjoy this. With that, we just done with our amazing discussion with Parul, and Parul gave us such amazing, pointers and insights on her journey, her experiences, and what she thinks are the right things to do to break those glass ceilings. I'm going to summarize that in a sentence or 2. I think finding a mentor is very, very important. Reading books or keep learning is coming across as a very, regular theme. Even our last guest talked about learning more and reading books, and travel happens to be my favorite as well. So I think these are the 3 things I would take away from this discussion, Parul. I had a great time talking to you and enjoyed it. And let's stay in touch and let's bring up more women, helping them break those glass ceiling. What say?
Absolutely. And Shrijita, thanks a ton, and all thanks to you that you really got this arranged. And I got a chance to really voice my thoughts, which I hope, are going to help few other women out there. So thank you so much for organizing this. It was amazing. It was great fun.
Total pleasure, Parul. So you just heard what Parul and I were talking about during today's episode. And what caught my attention during the episode is her experience of how she chose to leave her career, her booming career, at the drop of a hat, just because her husband was moving. And then finally realized that it is important for her to also concentrate on building her career and come back. That realization helped her break her glass ceiling. What kind of a realization are you having? What kind of a mentor are you going to choose? And how you are going to shatter your glass ceiling? Tell us in the comments. I will be all ears to listen to you all.